Yo, what's up, guys? Carpool MMA, first episode. I'm your host, Ian Parker. For those of you that have not heard of me, shame on you. You must be living under an MMA rock. For those of you that have heard of me, you've obviously seen me or listened to the podcast with the Anik and Florian podcast I was on, the Parting Shot with James Lynch, the Around the Cage podcast, or even when I was a guest on Ariel Helwani and the Luke Thomas show. Also, I'm the former manager of Chris Weidman and John Vellante. More importantly, and my most favorite project, I am the creator of the Cage Hero brand. I'm also the writer and creator of the Cage Hero comic book series and the graphic novel. Since I've been on some of these podcasts making picks and doing a lot of breakdowns, some of these awesome journalists, I've been asked, why don't you do your own? You know your stuff. Well, thanks to you guys, this is it. I'm making the move. So this is my podcast. I'm making picks. I'm going to do breakdowns. Hopefully for all you gamblers out there, this will make you some money because I know my shit. Ask Kenny Florian. He said it. All right, which means it's obviously true. I don't know. But let's get started. UFC 235. What a stacked fucking card, top to bottom. All right, let's start with some fights on the undercard. Jeremy Stephens versus Zabit. His last name is too Russian. I don't care, but we all know who we're talking about here. All right. This is a really interesting fight. For Zabit, it's a big step up in competition. However, Jeremy Stephens is the type of fighter that this kind of works out for Zabit. You know, he's got crazy striking, a lot of, aerial assaults. He's got a lot of athletic ability. He's a very different fighter. However, most of you guys are probably saying, oh my God, he's minus 255. Jeremy Stephens has fought top level competition, and Zabit just got in a brawl and almost lost to Kyle Bochniak. Yeah, I get it. I don't give a shit. Zabit has a coach named Mark Henry. For you guys that don't know, it's the same coach of Frankie Edgar, okay? When some of these younger guys like to be very, what's the word for it? They like to be show-offs a little bit. Zabit does a lot of stuff off the cage, a lot of jumping stuff, a lot of spinning kick, a lot of ninja stuff. Here's the deal. When you are a major favorite, like minus 500, what he was against Bochniak, and you almost lose or you get too much in a brawl, you risk the fight way too much, most of the time you come out on the losing end and you learn from it and you either evolve or you don't. Well, fortunately for Zabit, he won. And fortunately, he's got a very good coach in Mark Henry who is not going to let him do that shit again, because Jeremy Stephens is a brawler. Power in this division for days. Jeremy Stephens has taken a lot of, beatings over the year, though, a lot of damage. In the fight against Dennis Bermudez was dominating that fight. And then that flying knee happened, and that's where Bermudez crumbled and went down. Otherwise, there was no question who was winning that fight. I think Zabit's going to come out, and I think this time around, he's going to use his range. He's the much taller fighter, and he's going to use his wrestling game. Putting Stephens on his back will take away that insane power that he has, and that's where I see this fight kind of happening and where it's going. Zabit's going to use his wrestling. You guys are going to see some flashy kicks, a lot of spinning shit, some jumps off the cage. But when push comes to shove and Stephens throws that first power punch, and Zabit's going to block it, but you're going to hear a big off the arm. All right, at that point, Zabit's going to shoot in. Because at that point, there's no more messing around. There's no reason to even risk that. So Zabit's going to win this fight. It's going to be... I hope he doesn't get into a brawl for him. I mean, as a fan, brawl. But he's going to be smart. Mark Henry is going to come up with a really good game plan. He's going to use his range, probably going to use some push kicks, maybe even some leg kicks to try to slow down Jeremy Stephens so he can't really, pivot and plant off the foot for the power. I like Zabit in this fight. However, do not bet him straight up. 255 is a lot of money to lay down on a guy that has not fought someone this high up in the rankings. But later on in this video, you will see who I parlay him with, and you'll be happy, okay? Johnny Walker versus Misha Serkinov. Let me tell you something about this Johnny Walker kid, man. Confidence through the roof, and he has every reason to be that confident. When you win that quick in both your UFC fights against guys that are decent, it's something to be proud of. But we haven't seen anything else yet, and I'm kind of curious to do so. I think Walker is a very big guy at this weight class. He's very strong, he's very athletic, and he's very fast. Very fast. Misha Serkinov is a very good ground fighter, but his striking is not that great. And I think when he has guys that get in his face the striking and that are not afraid to get taken down, they let loose. That's where Serkinov is going to have a problem here. I think Johnny Walker is going to have his way with Serkinov. I don't think Serkinov is going to get Walker down. I think he's going to run into a lot of punches if he tries. And I think Walker is going to win. There's not much of a breakdown for this fight because we've only seen so much. I think Walker is even better than what we think he is. I think Serkinov will try to tie him up if he can and try to use that, against the cage, clinch him up and try to sweep him. But I don't see him doing that without getting tagged. If he gets tagged, he's going down. He doesn't have the best chin, so I like Johnny Walker a lot in this fight. The short notice doesn't bother me because he just fought and he had no damage and he's still in fight shape, so I'm sure he'll be fine. I like Johnny Walker in that fight. What's interesting is Tecia Torres. I know I'm kind of jumping around here. Tecia Torres has fought pretty much everyone at 125. Her opponent is 2-0 in the UFC, yet Ticia's an underdog. I like Tecia. I like Tecia Torres in this fight. I think her athleticism is going to win it. Her striking keeps getting better and better. It really does. She's very hard to take down. She's got cardio for days. I think her opponent is just... I think the experience with the level of competition is what gets Tecia the win. So I'm going so far, Zabit, push to the side for a second, Johnny Walker, Tecia Torres. All right. Mickey Gall versus Diego Sanchez. Ugh. Weird fight again. Great fight for Mickey Gall. Terrible fight for Diego Sanchez. I want to kind of go into our time machine, our MMA time machine for a second. When Diego Sanchez won the Ultimate Fighter and when he came into the UFC and he fought Joe Riggs, Clay Guidas, the Nick Diaz fight, he was pushing forward, throwing a lot of combinations so he can get his takedown and get his top game going. Since then, he has really just become this wild striker and brawler just to put on a show. Mickey Gall is going to have the range, the striking advantage, and the jiu-jitsu advantage. Although Diego is good at jiu-jitsu, okay, I think Mickey Gall is just really the better fighter, okay? Each and every aspect of this game. I don't think Diego is going to put something in front of Mickey that Mickey hasn't seen yet, even in his very green, short career. I think Mickey Gall will be the first person to submit Diego Sanchez. I think Mickey Gall is going to drop him with like a step-back jab. It's going to catch him off guard, okay? And I think that he's going to take the back, and I think he's going to choke out Diego Sanchez with a rear naked choke. I like Mickey Gall. Mickey Gall is also minus in the 200. So this is where you could parlay Zabit, Mickey Gall with Johnny Walker. All right, so now you're going to get a plus money situation here. So I go Zabit, Johnny Walker, and Mickey Gall, parlay the shit out of them. I love that, okay? Love that. Moving on. I know you guys don't like these long, drawn-out podcasts, especially for those of you that don't know me yet, but you will, and you're going to love me, and we're going to make this a little bit longer and longer. But for now, let's get these picks, let's get a quick breakdown going, and maybe later in the week we'll dive in a little bit harder. Main card, Cody Garbrandt versus Pedro Munhoz. I am not making a pick in this fight. I don't want to. Reason why is because it could go either way. Cody Garbrandt's last fight was against TJ Dillashaw. He got knocked out. It's been a little while since he fought. A long time. If you take away those two TJ fights, Cody 10 out of 10 times wins this fight. But we don't really know. Cody's chin is not the same. His last two fights he lost by knockout. Okay? Does he still have very fast hands? Oh yeah. Does he still have great athleticism? Of course. Pedro Munhoz, though, is showing us that he really belongs in the top echelon of this division. Okay? And, I would not be surprised if he pulls off the upset. Do I think it's going to happen? No. But read my lips, ladies and gentlemen. Do not bet on this fight. I don't like it. I love it as a fan. I love the actual fight. But as betting-wise, I'm staying away. I think Cody does win, but I wouldn't be shocked if Pedro Munhoz somehow is able to get this fight to the ground and grind it out. All right? Moving on. Official UFC debut for the funky one, my friend Ben Askren. All right? For those of you Ben Askren haters out there, I'm not going to be biased here, okay, but you just don't know shit. You're going to say that, he fought in Bellator against Cans, and he fought against ONE FC against Cans. He's going to pull a Hector Lombard. Guys, Ben Askren is one of the best wrestlers to ever grace planet Earth. And if you think that dominating Douglas Lima is not an accomplishment, you've lost your fucking minds and you have no idea what you're talking about. Douglas Lima gets paid really well to be in Bellator. Douglas Lima probably would be a top 5 welterweight, or at least top 8 in the UFC. That's a lot to say, okay? Andrei Korshov, not top 10 right now, top 15 maybe, but Ben dominated him and finished him, okay? Robbie Lawler is on the tail end of his career, and Ben is not going to have to be worried about getting taken down. He normally does, but even here, he really won't have to. Robbie is going to be on his bicycle the entire time. Ben is going to keep coming forward. Jab, jab, overhead right shot. Jab, jab, overhead right shot. Overhead right shot until he gets that takedown. And Ben's cardio is for days. Robbie's got good cardio, but the minute Ben gets his fight to the ground, and he will, he sucks the life out of you. It's like what Khabib did to Conor. He just stays on top of you. He stays heavy. It's like having a fucking silverback gorilla on you. It's dangerous. Ben Askren's going to win this fight. Do I think he's going to finish Robbie? If he does, it'll be by submission. However, I do think he'll probably go to a unanimous decision. I think for Ben, it's just very important. It means everything to get this win. I don't care if he gets booed out of the arena for grinding it, and wrestling the whole time. To beat Robbie Lawler in your UFC debut is huge. Ben Askren has got all the tools to be a champion. I don't know where Ben's striking is. His striking is nothing impressive, okay? It's average, maybe a little bit above because of where he is in his career, but he will tell you that's not his strong point. If you watch MMA, you know it's not his strong point. He is a wrestler, and his jiu-jitsu is phenomenal. His top game is wrestling is second to none. Askren's going to get the job done here. I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun watching him. I'm a big fan of Robbie Lawler. Best of luck to him in this fight. If he loses and if it's his last fight, I don't know. He's had a wonderful career. The fact that he came back to the UFC and won a belt is awesome. I think Robbie, if he could keep the fight standing for at least the first round, he could light Ben up and maybe knock him out. But Ben's never even lost. So I can't say that he's got a bad chin. I don't even think he's been dropped. I think Askren is just too good of an aggressive wrestler. He's too strong, and Ben Askren's going to win this fight. All right. Next up, Tyron Woodley, the champ, defending against Kamaru Usman. So Kamaru Usman has done everything he is supposed to do to get a title shot. He has shown his knockout power by knocking out Sergio Moraes. He's shown that he could beat top-level competition by dominating Rafael dos Anjos. Even though I still think another fight should have happened before this, it makes sense. However, I don't think he's bringing anything to the table that Woodley hasn't seen before. He's not a better striker than Till. He's not a better striker than Wonder Boy. Maybe he's a better wrestler than some guys, but he's not a better wrestler than Woodley. I don't think there's anyone more powerful than Woodley in this division with his striking. I mean, his right hand is made out of cement. Woodley's wrestling is phenomenal. He's shown that his cardio has gotten way better. I just don't see Woodley losing this fight. I think Usman's a very smart fighter. The way that Usman does win is if it goes all 5 rounds and he's able to take either the first or second round if Usman can win. Let's say that Woodley wins the first round, right? If Usman can take the second round, I think that it benefits him to go to all 5 because then maybe he could take 4 and 5 due to cardio. However, for you guys that aren't aware, Tyron Woodley's a black belt in jiu-jitsu also. So if he gets Usman on his back, we don't even know what Usman can do on his back. I think Woodley might even submit Kamaru Usman. It wouldn't surprise me all that much. I'm going with the champ. I have no reason to believe that Usman's going to beat Woodley. It doesn't take anything away from Kamaru Usman. I don't think Woodley gets the respect he deserves as a champ. I don't think you guys realize beating Wonder Boy twice is a huge accomplishment. Finishing Darren Till, amazing. He's done everything he's supposed to do. He's beaten everyone you put in front of him. I don't think it's going to be any different with Usman, and I don't think this will be the end of Kamaru Usman. I do think Usman will be a champion one day, but not this Saturday. I like Tyron Woodley. I don't really... There's nothing that shows me that Usman has that is going to beat Woodley. That's the biggest talking point I could say. You guys may say, he's a strong offensive wrestler. You guys aren't aware how good of a wrestler Woodley is. He may have a reach. Dude, he just fought Darren Till that was like a foot taller than him, and he dropped Till. You guys don't understand the power. This guy is an unbelievable fighter. He's just not as active as we'd like him to be. And we just found out it wasn't his fault. He was trying to fight Kobe Covington a bunch of times, and it just didn't work. So let's be just happy that this fight's happening. It's a co-main event, all right? Final fight of the night. This one's kind of like, all right, it is what it is. But we get to see Jon Jones get back in the cage pretty quickly. We haven't seen that really that often. Anthony Smith beat Shogun, Rashad Evans. He beat Volkan Ozdemir. To me, out of all those fights, the Volkan fight was the biggest one because Volkan is somewhere at the top. He's a top 5 guy. And Anthony Smith just really gutted that out, got the submission. But he was losing that fight. This is another kind of similar with the Woodley fight, except, Anthony Smith is not going to bring anything to the cage that Jon Jones hasn't seen. He's not better than Jon. Jon is so much better in every aspect of the game than Anthony Smith. Someone wrote to me earlier and said, yo, Ian, if Anthony Smith were to pull potentially the biggest upset in UFC or MMA history, how would he do it? My answer is it would have to be in a scramble where Anthony Smith took the back of Jon Jones. Okay? Like if they both were against the cage in the clinch and they both went for a sweep or a drag and they landed in a 50-50 scramble and somehow Anthony Smith wrapped his legs into like a body triangle or just got hooks in, okay? That would be it. Or if somehow he was able to put Jon Jones on his back and land in half guard, not full guard. If he lands in full guard, Jones is very good at, Jones will scoot to the back of the cage and will stand up quickly. He's a very good wrestler. As you can see, Cormier couldn't even get him down. So here's what I will tell you guys. It's not much more of a breakdown. Jon Jones is going to win this fight. Picogram, no Picogram. A lot of arguments. He's the best fighter ever. He has plenty of time to cement that legacy. So here's where these bets are going to go. Parlay, Walker, Zabit, and Mickey Gall. Okay. I would also parlay Ben Askren, Tyron Woodley, and Jon Jones. All right. And I would take Tisha Torres, and I would go from there. And I think you're going to be in for a pretty cool night. If you want to keep going with the parlays, parlay Mickey Gall with Jon Jones and Askren. You could parlay those heavy hitter guys. I have no issue with that. Any type of combination you want to do, and that's pretty much all I got for you with this card. I'm really excited. Listen, 2 title fights. You can't ask for much more than that. Cody Garbrandt starting off the main card. That's awesome. We are going to see Thiago Santos in the crowd. I would not mind seeing Santos versus Jon Jones. I think that'd be a really exciting fight. Best of luck to Anthony Smith. You've earned this title shot, man. You've been through the ups and downs of this industry. I remember watching you as a middleweight on the Challenger Series of Strikeforce, and you came to the UFC and you had mixed success at middleweight. Jumping to 205, you've been reborn. You've been great. You deserve it. Win or lose, man. Congrats. It's a pretty huge accomplishment to get a title shot. And you're going to fight Jon Jones, who at the end of his career may be the best ever, as long as he can stop fucking up. So, all right, guys, if you got any questions, feel free to hit me up in the bottom, all right, of the screen. It's been real. Episode number 1, Carpool MMA. Enjoy the fights.